You probably don't think much when you see a hippo, just a fat, lazy animal chilling in the water. But that's the mistake most animals make before they die. Hippos are monsters who will kill crocodiles, lions, even humans, just because they can. And the scariest part is, they're not even predators. You see, hippos can weigh nearly 4,000 pounds, which is likely heavier than your car, plus they're solid muscle from head to toe. Their skin can be almost 2 inches thick enough that even a crocodile bite barely leaves a mark. They even sweat a red, oily substance that acts like sunscreen and antibacterial armor. It's literally called blood sweat. And that's why hippos can spend hours under the African sun and walk out without a scratch. When they open their mouths, it doesn't even look real. They can stretch their jaws almost 180 degrees, wider than any big cat on Earth. And when they bite down, it's with over 1,800 pounds of force, strong enough to literally split a boat in half. Each lower tusk can grow over a foot long, and they sharpen naturally every time the mouth closes, which is terrifying. A single swing of that head can tear straight through flesh and bone. That's why even apex predators like lions give them space. This kind of power isn't just to scare you, which I bet it does, but hippos use it every day to control the rivers they live in. Every single stretch of water and land around it belongs to them. If anything enters, whether it's a crocodile, a buffalo, or a person, then they're gonna expect to be treated like a threat. Most people don't realize it, but hippos kill more humans in Africa than any other big animal. Boats get flipped, people disappear, and it all happens fast. What's crazy is that crocodiles that spend their entire lives in the water stay out of a hippo's space, even though they have the strongest bite force in the animal kingdom. So by now you're asking yourself, why are they like this? I mean, they're not predators, so what's the point? The answer's simple: territory and survival. Hippos don't fight for food, they fight for space. Kinda like how some people fight for freedom, but 10 times more brutal. In their world, water means everything. It keeps them cool and gives them protection from the sun even when having that red sunscreen. During dry season, the rivers shrink and that space disappears fast. Hundreds of hippos get forced into the same small patches of water, and that's when things get violent. Every male wants control over his own stretch of river, and every female wants a safe spot for her calf. There's no room for peace in that kind of pressure. Even when they're not fighting, you can see the tension. Constant grunts, posturing, wide-mouthed displays just to remind everyone who owns what. Now, when they do start fighting, oh boy, is it brutal. Males are constantly testing each other, fighting over space and dominance, and the fights can last up to hours. These battles turn brutal fast. They ram and bite with their tusks that are sharp enough to pierce 2 inches of skin, pretty much looking like they're trying to make out. Some fights end in seconds, others drag on until one bleeds out or retreats completely. The power behind those hits is insane. A hippo's jaw can snap bone clean through, so you really can't imagine how brutal it is if there's 2 of them. Though hippos don't just save that power for each other. When people get too close, they react the same way. Most attacks aren't planned. Let's say someone's fishing, crossing a river, or just boating through what looks like calm water. To a hippo, that's their home, and if you're in it, you're a problem. They launch straight out of the water with enough force to flip a small boat without hesitation. People rarely have time to react before they're in the water, and that's the worst place you could end up with an animal that powerful. It's the difference between something hunting you and something protecting its territory. Speaking of territory, that subscribe button's mine, and you should hit it. Anyway, you'd think once hippos are out of the water, they'd finally slow down and be less aggressive, but that's not how they work. They can run over 30 kilometers an hour, which doesn't sound insane until you realize that's faster than most people sprint. You wouldn't expect something that size to move like that. This makes lions not take their chances. Since most predators rely on stealth or teamwork, hippos don't need either, so they'll just move forward and everything else gets out of the way. At night is where it gets scary. They leave the water to graze, walking miles to find enough food to keep that massive frame going. Farmers in Africa call them lawnmowers because they strip everything clean. The thing is, if someone happens to be between them and the river when they decide to head back, they'll charge straight through anything in the way. It isn't thinking about what's in front of it. All it knows is that the river means safety, and for some reason, anything that's in the way is a threat to them, since the water hides them and gives them control. On land, they don't have that advantage. That's why they don't stop to figure out what's in the way. They just keep moving until they're back in the water. They're the definition of, I see red when I'm mad, but instead they see it 24/7. I guess moral of the story is that you don't mess with a hippo, and sure as hell not close to a river, unless you have a death wish. And we can't forget the most dangerous thing about them.